Hello, this is Desiree Dubonnet from the International Medical University of Natural Education, IMUNE. And today, a very important course starts off the whole procedure of learning, the idea of compassion, because at the heart of all medicine is compassion. Today, we have a simple medical course in compassion.
And in a way, it's our education to teach compassion, because we found out that no medical school in the world teaches compassion as an embedded course, that from the first day until graduation, that it is clear that the practice of medicine is the practice of compassion with whatever humble tools and knowledge that you have to help another person.
The principle of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Cameron.
Hi, Cameron. I'm Patch.
Calling us always to treat all others as we wish to be treated ourselves.
Compassion impels us to work tirelessly to alleviate the suffering of our fellow creatures.
I have a cold. Just a bit of a cold.
To dethrone ourselves from the center of our world and put another there.
To honor the inviolable sanctity of every single human being.
Treating everybody without exception.
With absolute justice, equity, and respect.
Bee kisses.
It is also necessary in both public and private life
to refrain consistently and empathically from inflicting pain.
To act or speak violently out of spite, chauvinism, or self-interest.
To impoverish, exploit, or deny basic rights to anybody.
And to incite hatred by denigrating others, even our enemies.
Is a denial of our common humanity.
We acknowledge that we have failed to live compassionately.
And that some have even increased the sum of human misery in the name of religion.
We therefore call upon all men and women
to restore compassion
to the center of morality and religion.
Hello, my friend. Hello.
Oh, look out!
To return to the ancient principle
That any interpretation of scripture
that breeds violence,
hatred,
or disdain
is illegitimate.
To ensure that youth are given accurate and respectful information.
My name is Officer Patio Furniture. I'm here today to talk to you briefly about narcolepsy. Narcolepsy...
About other traditions, religions, and cultures.
To encourage a positive appreciation of cultural
and religious diversity.
to cultivate
an informed empathy
With the suffering of all human beings.
even those
regarded as enemies.
Clown salute! Very good. Wide face. Part face.
We urgently need to make compassion a clear, luminous, and dynamic force in our polarized world.
Rooted in a principled determination to transcend selfishness.
The hospital will cover all of your bills. Any other questions? My name is Dr. Phil. I'll be your surgeon. Oh, there you are. Hey, let's get ready to party!
Compassion can break down political, dogmatic, ideological, and religious boundaries.
Born of our deep interdependence, compassion is essential for human relationships and to a fulfilled humanity.
It is the path to enlightenment and indispensable in the creation of a just economy and a peaceful global community.
Let me introduce to you the movie Patch Adams. True story, and this took place not too far from where I lived in the hills of West Virginia, very beautiful. My grandfather had a very large Christmas tree farm there. And Patch Adams struggled with life, and then he found his way into medicine and into compassion.
Medical doctors are brainwashed to remove the compassion, remove their thoughts of compassion, and to take away their humanity. Let's look at brainwashing and understand more about this.
To do harm. The Oxford English Dictionary defines brainwashing as the systematic and often forcible elimination from a person's mind of more established ideas so that another set of ideas may take their place. According to this definition, brainwashing can be described as the purposeful attempt to change an individual's ideas and beliefs. However, since everyone is bombarded on a daily basis with attempts to change their beliefs, brainwashing must be identified as a radical or extreme attempt to change an individual's beliefs and ideas.
Let's look into a little bit what happens in a medical school, in a classroom.
Do no harm. What is implicit in this simple precept of medicine? An awesome power. The power to do harm.
First, don't hurt. Yes, what an interesting idea. The basic idea of medicine from Hippocrates. If you want to help people, well, first, don't hurt people. This is a very important point, and yet modern medicine has turned their back on that. Let's watch a little more.
First, do no harm. What is implicit in this simple precept of medicine? An awesome power. The power to do harm. Who gives you this power? The patient.
Doctors are brainwashed to understand that they can hurt and they should hurt. They have to do biopsies and they have to do other things that are destructive tests.
Sad fact is, human beings are not worthy of trust. It is human nature to lie, take shortcuts, lose your nerve, get tired, make mistakes. No rational patient would put his trust in a human being, and we're not going to let him.
They have to be brainwashed to do allopathy and to do diagnosis, not to do natural type of therapy, not to do holistic therapy, but to focus on symptoms rather than causes.
It is our mission here to rigorously and ruthlessly train the humanity out of you and make you into something better. We're going to make doctors out of you.
Yes, they try to take the humanity, the compassion, the caring, and the sharing, the touch out of medicine.
What we've just seen is him describe hurting, biopsies, drugs, side effects, radiations, surgeries, exploratory surgeries, destructive tests, on and on and on. You see, medicine has gotten away from the idea of first don't hurt. And instead of exploring lifestyle and diet and exercise and meditation and stress reduction, and instead of exploring simple compassion, medicine has turned its back on these things. We need to get back to this, and Patch Adams helps to teach us.
To be a medical doctor, you need brainwashing, to give up the ideas of humility and compassion and become arrogant and big-headed. We're taught in 5th grade that we are made of atoms with electrons and protons that don't touch each other. Nothing touches anything else. We are electrical particles held together with energetic forces. But MDs must be learned and brainwashed to never discuss electrical or energetic medicine. They might lose their license. We must ignore natural medicine so that they become ignorant by ignoring. One of the most prolific diseases of all is malnutrition, and its cure is good food. So, of course, it's obvious that food is medicine. But doctors must be blind to food as your best medicine and concentrate on what drug to prescribe. You need to give up the ideas of natural balance and seek synthetic patented medication. Synthetic. A patent is only given to a person when they prove that their substance is not of nature. So a patent chemical is not natural. Synthetic patented medicines are truly not tested for side effects. They are tested for efficacy, but side effects are observed, not really tested. Most side effects become more observable when the synthetic medicine enters the market. So synthetic medicines are often removed after hurting people for 20 years and then their patent wears out, sometimes even before. To use a synthetic anything is an insult to the body. To be a medical doctor, you must be blinded to this. You must have a new idea that synthetic medicines are fine to put into the body for any type of first sign of concern. Symptoms are no longer a signpost to inner disease. Symptoms become the enemy. What's wrong with you? Don't worry, we have a pill for that, is the new brainwashed theme of existence. An MD must learn not to seek natural balance, but learn to inhibit biology with synthetic patent medication. For depression, inhibit biology with an MAO inhibitor. For heart disease, use a calcium blocker rather than potassium-rich foods. For pain, use a painkiller rather than seek the cause of pain. For stomach, the stomach needs acid to work, so we must learn to use antacids. Thereby, we block digestion. If you have a cough and can't get something out, they use a cough suppressant so that something stays in. For fever, they use an antipyretic. You see, nature is stupid, doctors are smart, is what they're taught in medical school. If you are toxic and sweat too much, Botox can block the sweating. If you have diarrhea to detox and try to get something out, Imodium can stop the detox. Or maybe we can sew your ass up to stop the detox. Whenever a patient is detoxifying through any orifice, the MD has a synthetic patent to stop any detox. The mentally ill get a pill rather than compassion. For cancer, they use poisonous chemotherapy. They learn to wake you up to give you a sleeping pill. They get you off the toilet to give you a laxative. They make up new diseases to sell new pills. And children are medicated at the first sign of any tiny, minuscule, itsy-bitsy concern. Don't worry about the side effect from these pills. We have other synthetic pills for all those side effects. An MD must lose his humanity and become a robot working to dispense pills. These synthetic pills make for dependency, toxicity, addiction, complication, and a wide variety of harm. But what the hell? It's all in the zany life of an MD. You must take your meds becomes your new mantra if you want to be a medical doctor. And Big Pharma, when they say shit, the MD's got to learn to go in the corner and squat. When properly brainwashed, the MD is an arrogant, inhuman, ignorant, symptom fighter, and pill pusher. Ready to make Big Pharma money. Lots of money. Now you understand more about brainwashing for MDs.
When did the term doctor get treated with such reverence as, oh, right this way, Dr. Smith, or, excuse me, Dr. Scholes, what wonderful foot pads, or, pardon me, Dr. Patterson, but your flatulence has no odor. At what point in history did a doctor become more?
We have to learn to stop the brainwashing about this arrogance. We have to go back to being humble and appreciate the magic.
What's wrong with death, sir? What are we so mortally afraid of? Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency?
Thank you.
I thought we'd have more contact with patients, didn't you? Hi, I'm Patch. You've just experienced a North American greeting, whereby one person offers a verbal label to another as an expression of welcome and friendship.
Lesbian, ballbuster, airhead, leech, whichever one of these disgusts you the most, take your pick.
It used to be. This amazing piece of rubber, when applied to your face, can brighten another person's day. Even a suffering patient.
I'm sure it's really great for kids.
Oh, no, not just kids. Anyone. Patients are opening up to me, Corinne. They're sharing their dreams, their fantasies. And if you hit on the right topic, they brighten up for one brief moment. They don't concentrate on the pain. They don't even feel the pain.
I'm not like you, Patch. I want the white coat. I want people to call me doctor more than anything. I want the recognition.
And you get it every day in the eyes of patients you're helping. I mean, there is more to life than what Dean Walcott puts out there. That is all about power and control. All right? I know you're scared.
Right, I am scared. I'm scared to death. You know, you sit here and you talk about life without limits, you know, and breaking the rules. It all sounds very, very romantic. You want to know what the truth is about all that crap, Patch? People get hurt.
And who did it to you?
I have to go.
Please, no, listen to me. Come on. Whatever it is, come on. You can tell me I can help you. I swear I can. Please, let me help.
A human being is part of the whole called by us universe. The human is a part, limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts, his feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for the few people nearest to us. Our task in this universe must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creatures, and to embrace the whole of nature in its beauty. This is a quote from Albert Einstein.
I know what this is all about, and I assure you, sir, I'll pay.
An understanding heart is everything in a teacher and cannot be esteemed highly enough. One looks back with appreciation to the brilliant teachers, but with gratitude to those who touched our human feeling. The curriculum is so much necessary raw material, but warmth is the vital element for growing. plant and for the soul of the child. You cannot apply kindness and understanding to others if you haven't applied it to yourself. An alchemical text says, the mind should learn compassion and love for the body.
These are quotes from
Carl Jung.
Something happened last night. Corinne Fisher was murdered. She was with Larwood Silver. There's a shotgun involved, and he turned the gun on himself. Jesus Christ, Patch, I'm sorry. I know she was a friend. If there's anything I can do, hell of a deal.
The drug's not working. All these things you're experiencing are the side effects of that, and they're making you behave this way.
I appreciate you coming to see me, but I have things to do. Leonard.
Leonard, please, look at yourself.
Now, look at yourself.
We want to learn to be a healer, not just a doctor. We have to have compassion. And here are the 10 lessons, the 10 steps to become a healer. Starting with humility, compassion, that's where it all starts. Then healthy lifestyle, healthy behavior. Food is your best medicine, and a synthetic anything is an insult to the body, so we minimize using synthetics only if absolutely necessary. We want to have food and natural medicine as the guidelines of how we're going to help people. We have to have compassion in our hearts and a true understanding of nature, because natural medicines can heal. We detox, then we use nutrition. Allopathy crisis care is poor ways to do medicine. Stress reduction and reduce the causes of disease, the stressors, is the key to medicine. Symptoms are not the enemy, they are our guide. We are beings of body, mind, spirit, social, and environmental. We are more than just a body, mind, spirit, we're social and environmental. And the greatest lesson, number 10, eventually, every patient, everyone dies. We have to learn to have compassion, not to be afraid of death, but to embrace the transition.
I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you straightforwardly, without complexities or pride. So I love you because I know no other way than this. So close that your hand on my chest is my hand. So close that when you close your eyes, you fall asleep. I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I reached the pinnacle of success in the business world. In others' eyes, my life was an epitome of success. However, aside from work, I have little joy. In the end, wealth is only a fact of life that I'm accustomed to. At this moment, lying on the sickbed and recalling my whole life, I realized that all the recognition and wealth I took so much pride in have paled and become meaningless in the face of impending death.
Preview of coming attractions. There's death, to die, to expire, to pass on, to perish, to peg out, to push up daisies, to push up posies, to become extinct, curtains, deceased.
In darkness, I look at the green lights from the life-supporting machines. I hear the humming mechanical sounds. I can feel the breath of God of Death drawing closer.
Demised, departed, and defunct. Dead as a doornail. Dead as a herring. Dead as a mutton. Dead as nits. The last breath. Paying a debt to nature. The big sleep. God's way of saying, slow down.
Now I know. When we have accumulated sufficient wealth to last our lifetime, we should pursue other matters that are unrelated to wealth.
To check out.
To shuffle off this mortal coil.
Should be something that's more important. Perhaps relationships. Perhaps art. Perhaps a dream from younger days.
To head for the happy hunting ground.
To blink for an exceptionally long period of time.
To find oneself without breath.
To be the incredible decaying man.
Worm buffet.
Kick the bucket.
By the farm.
Take the cab.
Cash in your chips.
And if we bury your ass up, we have a place to park my bike.
Stop pursuing wealth will only turn a person into a twisted being. Just like me. God gave us the senses to let us feel the love in everyone's heart, not the illusions brought out by wealth. The wealth that I have won in my life, I cannot bring with me. What I can bring is only the memories precipitated by love. That's the true riches which will follow you, accompany you, giving you strength and light to go on.
Welcome, cold-handed ones. It's an honor to greet/welcome so many who have touched so many women in such a powerful way. Come on in. Watch out, it's a little slippery.
When a person goes into the operating room, he will realize that there is one book that he has yet to finish reading. The Book of Healthy Life.
Okay, let's look at the logic. You create man. Man suffers enormous amounts of pain. Man dies. Maybe you should have had just a few more brainstorming sessions prior to creation. You rested on the 7th day. Maybe you should have spent that day on compassion.
She's in palliative care for it. They were called to the facility. Got some IV access going.
There's nothing left to say. There's just a perfect day for us to use. There's nothing else to see.
That's okay.
No better place to be. Now that you're here with me, and I'm with you. Why don't we wait here? I just wanna stay here.
I saw a patient this morning with that name.
Why don't we
Is the pain
wait
starting to subside?
here? Now
Bed management, Michelle speaking. Okay. What's the patient's name? McIntyre? All right, that's a compassionate bed. Let me see what I can do.
You guys need help? Follow this hallway down there and follow the signs to Robbinsfield.
So please don't move an inch. Don't ever change a thing. Just let me take this in and hold it tight. Why don't we wait here now? You can go see it.
We grew up together,
Why don't we wait?
and we'll die together.
I just wanna stay here. Why don't we wait here now?
Term doctor get treated with such reverence as, oh, right this way, Dr. Smith, or, excuse me, Dr. Scholes, what wonderful foot pads, or, pardon me, Dr. Patterson, but your flatulence has no odor. At what point in history did a doctor become more?
We have to learn to stop the brainwashing about this arrogance. We have to go back to being humble and appreciate the magic.
What's wrong with death, sir? What are we so mortally afraid of? Why can't we treat death with a certain amount of humanity and dignity and decency and, God forbid, maybe even humor? Death is not the enemy, gentlemen. If we're going to fight a disease, let's fight one of the most terrible diseases of all, indifference.
Death is truly not the enemy. It's part of a transition. Is that all things change, go on in different forms.
Now I've sat in your schools and heard people lecture on transference and professional distance. Transference is inevitable, sir. Every human being has an impact on another. Why don't we want that in a patient-doctor relationship? That's why I've listened to your teachings, and I believe they're wrong.
Medicine starts with compassion, and it's the basis of all medicine. We need to stop this brainwashing and get back to compassion.
A doctor's mission should be not just to prevent death, but also to improve the quality of life. That's why you treat a disease, you win, you lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll win.
We have to look beyond the disease and beyond the diagnosis into how to make the person's life better.
Now here today, this room is full of medical students. Don't let them anesthetize you. Don't let them numb you out to the miracle of life. Always live in awe of the glorious mechanism of the human body. Let that be the focus of your studies and not a quest for grades, which will give you no idea what kind of doctor you will become.
There are 10 to the 27th electrons in every human body. So we are vastly, vastly complex and fractal and beyond complete understanding.
Please turn and
don't wait till you're on the ward to get your humanity back. Start your interviewing skills now. Start talking to strangers. Talk to your friends. Talk to wrong numbers. Talk to everyone.
Mr. Adams.
And cultivate friendships with those amazing people standing in the back of the room. Nurses that can teach you.
Don't lose your humanity, so you have to get it back. Hold on to it. Hold on to it fast and hard. And resist and stop the brainwashing.
Well, I'm happy to see you finally decided to conform.
More than you know, sir.
We have to help patients. We have to help doctors, because doctors are patients, and patients are doctors. We have to learn to stop the brainwashing.
Before I start, I'd like to tell everybody I answer all my mail. I've never used a computer. I can't get to our website. I'm sure you can, patchadams.org. There's an address. I write 400 to 600 longhand letters a month. I am your friend. If I can help you in any way, I invite your correspondence. Health and health care are a human right for all people. I entered medical school in 1967 to use it as a vehicle for social change. I was a whole systems thinker. What I wanted to do was to create a hospital that addressed every single problem of healthcare delivery in one model. When I graduated in 71, no one gave us a hospital, so 20 adults, 3 of us physicians, and our children moved into a large 6-bedroom house and said we were a hospital. We were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all manner of medical problems from birth to death. In the 12-year pilot, we had 500 to 1,000 people in our home each month with 5 to 50 overnight guests a night. Never in our 40-year history have we charged money for anything. In fact, we wanted to eliminate the idea of debt in the medical interaction. We never wanted people to think they owed something. We wanted them to be excited that they belonged to something called community. Our ideal patient was somebody who wanted to create a deep personal friendship with us. We have never had anything to do with third-party reimbursement. I've never seen an insurance form. We never heard anyone say anything nice about an insurance company. We've never carried malpractice insurance because we know we are imperfect. We can always promise care. We can never promise cure. We need the right to make a mistake. As a family doctor, I knew I wanted to know my patients, so my first interview with an adult patient is 4 hours long. I ask every question sensitive to life. I visited their home. And what I found out was that less than 3% of the adult population I saw did not have self-esteem. Less than 5% had any idea what a day-to-day vitality for life was about. What we just heard about health, practically no one actually was proactive for their health. And that's why from our very beginning we integrated medicine with performing arts, arts and crafts, agriculture, nature, education, recreation, and social service. In a way, we use their disease as a gimmick to get them into a university of human culture. We were teaching love, joy, humor, passion, hope, wonder, curiosity, creativity, intimacy, shared efforts with people. We've been the only hospital to integrate all the healing arts. When we started, it was against the law. Our law is what do the patients need. So from our very beginning, everything you've ever heard of as complementary care, we have been involved in. We weren't given a single donation in those first 12 years, and no one gave us a donation of any kind, and so we worked outside jobs to pay to practice medicine. For 40 years, I have paid to be a doctor. And I say that without any sense of sacrifice or long and hard journey. Rather, the unencumbered practice of care is an ecstatic experience worth paying to do. We also never had anything resembling privacy. There was never, in any course of the day, anything resembling privacy. And yet our first 9 years, no staff person left. And this was, in a way, what the Hollywood movie picked up on, and that is that we were the first silly hospital in history. We were silly to live with and silly to die with. If you only have a week to live, I'm your man. We also never disliked a patient enough to give them a psychiatric medication. We were interested in exploring non-pharmaceutical mental health. And 3,000 of our 15,000 patients that came to our home had profound mental illness, and we never gave any medication. After 12 years, we realized that it was more important for us to build a model hospital than to do the cute frontier work that we were doing, and that in order to do that, having refused publicity before this, we realized that this country never rewards intelligence, it rewards fame. And so I agreed to become famous in hopes that that would build our hospital. We had such a difficult time closing. We loved the practice of medicine. I learned to live on very little sleep. I learned the thrill of loving people. To give you an idea, you're wondering, well, what the hell did he do with schizophrenia? There were times I held them in my arms for 10 hours, saying I love you, and also goofing, playing. It was like a cauldron of exploration the entire time. How does one get a person interested in exercise or diet, but much more importantly, intimacy, human love? Since we found that most people were lonely. In fact, the normal American that we saw didn't like themselves, didn't like their marriage, and didn't like their job, and none of those were reasons they came to us. So we closed our doors, knowing that we couldn't tell a nation with so many people who couldn't get care. And as we've heard, even if you could afford care, you can't get the kind of care that we give. And so we went public, closed our doors, and to tell you the truth, I thought we would be built in 4 years, that I knew the need when I was in medical school, and I thought people would say, wow, this is an interesting project. Let's fund it and see what happens. So we went public. I got famous. I started to lecture. I've been on the road now for 27 years in 70 countries, most of that time 300 days a year. I've lectured at over 90 of our medical schools, many of them many times, medical schools in 70 countries. I correspond with medical personnel in 120 countries. Nowhere are hospitals happy in the world. Medical students are hugely dissatisfied. If I go to a country to speak, 6,000 students show up. They would love a joyful, sweet practice of medicine. All over the world, physicians are rude. There is a hierarchy. All over the world, there is a deep sadness that you don't have enough time with patients, that it was so much of a mash in this work for healthcare reform to think that somehow if we paid for everything, we would have good healthcare delivery or health delivery. And all this time, I thought that by having good ideas, we would be funded. You understand, we've eliminated 90% of the cost of healthcare. For example, at our hospital, the cleaning person and the surgeon make the same salary, $300 a month. And you may think only nuts would apply. Thousands of doctors and nurses apply every year to work for $300 a month. Why? I like to think of it as the gradient of working for money or working for love, that people will trade several $1 million a year as a surgeon for $3,600 to serve humanity. They also have added the component of really being concerned with the future of humanity and knowing that we need another way of living if we're to survive as a species. And during our 40 years, the environmental movement obviously became very important, differently important. And so we are a communal eco-village project. The permanent staff will live at our hospital. In these travels, we've connected with projects all over the world. I started to take what we call clown trips all over the world. We've done that literally in 3 war zones and countless refugee camps. And in a way, it's our education to teach compassion, because we found out that no medical school in the world teaches compassion as an embedded course, that from the first day until graduation, that it is clear that the practice of medicine is the practice of compassion with whatever humble tools and knowledge that you have to help another person. So, particularly since the film promised to build our hospital. None of the profits from the film ever came to us. And so basically 40 years into this work, we are still trying to build our hospital. We have 310 acres in Pocahontas County, West Virginia, and we have an unlimited number of doctors and nurses and personnel ready to work there. We wanted to go to the poorest state. A very exciting thing is 2 weeks ago, we broke ground, and we are now starting to build. And the nice thing about it taking so long is that imagine if you had 40 years to think about design, 40 years to think about what your ideal practice is, not what you'll get by with. And so the intelligence of the design is so much sweeter than it was at the beginning of this work. And we've also found ways to make it so much cheaper, again, through creating an economic system that's based on friendship and shared skills and these sorts of things. Another very exciting thing in our work is that by being involved in medical students from all over the world and seeing the agony of their experience in medical school, of it not being what they dreamed it would be in care, that we have been challenging medical schools for 30 years all over the world to create an embedded course in compassion. And last month, University of Peru, Cayetano Heredia has agreed to let us, what we're going to do is study what that means, compassion, in the practice of medicine. And very soon on our website, you will see the papers going up, the things that the students in this medical school will explore for 1 year. And then we will collectively, because we didn't want to come in as the old fart doctors who thought we knew what to do. We wanted to work with medical students. And an exciting thing is that because we're involved with medical students all over the world, we're inviting medical students all over the world to form groups within their own school for 1 year to study the things that you, again, will see on our website, to then collectively create a syllabus for the embedding of compassion as what the practice of medicine is. So that, all this in the last month, it's kind of thrilling to age, isn't it? I did get health insurance for the first time in May, thanks to your tax dollars. I turned 65, so I don't know if I really feel covered. But I have been one of those people who have lived healthy. However nice and wonderful and healthy I was at 30, it's nothing like my health is at 65. And so we've got to start giving aging a really good vibration. I was very interested in what was said about the teaching of health. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, our patient said, "Cut the crap, doc, give me a pill." That was a normal patient that they actually didn't want. And so we tricked them by having large dances 3 times a week. I'm not exercising, I'm having fun. And we would trick them in so many ways. I don't really have time to go into those ways, but they came and stayed in our home, so they had to eat the food we prepared. And there was a constant exposure. What I required of our staff is I wanted a staff, permanent staff, that were happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. Those were the degrees that I wanted them to bring, so that would be the context for both the caregiver and the patient and the families. because for us, the health of the caregiver is as important as the health of the patient. And so we literally had a huge atmosphere of tenderness and sweetness at all times. And I'm thrilled to say my sons, who are 34 and 23, they work with me. My brother works with me. It's a lot of nepotism going on. And that a lot of the people have been involved with us for a huge amount of time. I've never had any discouragement, not for 1 second. People have said, has it been hard? Hard would have been working in the American system. In my medical school, 90% of the attendings that I saw as a student were rude and arrogant. And my mother taught me never, that was about the worst thing a human could be. And I couldn't believe how everyone was silent about it. Hospitals have asked me and said, what can we do about our rude, arrogant doctors? I say, just have them either give them a large financial punishment or have them wear a sign, I am a rude doctor, and see if that doesn't affect change somehow. That nothing has been hard about this journey. It has been a thrill to practice medicine. It has been, I never dreamed that we would be involved all over the world. We're active in 40 countries. 6 years ago, we found 5-year-olds in the Peruvian Amazon with gonorrhea, and we have a lifetime project there. We decided 6 years ago, and just in this August, we had 135 people from 13 countries, a number of medical students, and we are using Paulo Freire's work and trying to understand how to help a society move from child sexual slavery. If you're not aware of the issue, it's a $15 billion a year industry, 20 to 50 million men a day. We've been very concerned about orphan work. We've been involved in Russia for 26 years, and we now take care of 400 orphans in Moscow and St. Petersburg. That I own nothing. I have no safety net, no life insurance or health insurance until Medicare. I literally have no property. Everything I make goes directly to our work, and I feel like the richest person on the planet. I invite you to help me finish building the hospital. I invite you, if you want to have a language for what we're doing, go to our website, to the idea section, and read Susan Parenti's 2 papers, and Think Mentally, for example, and read mine. Because we're just an example. One of the things that has been thrilling to go all over the world is that, boink, I'm done. Thank you very much.
No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. And the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. That you are here. That life exists and identity. The powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be?
The doctor's going, Robin, you need drugs to live. And I realize my doctor's my dealer now, and a lot harder to get a hold of. And he's always giving me free samples like, yo, Rambo, some Lipitor, motherfucker, try it out. That's all I can hook you up with right now. I got an HMO on my back, baby. That's all I can do.
So if I asked you about art, you'd probably give me the skinny on every art book ever written. Michelangelo. You know a lot about him. Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole works, right? I bet you can't tell me what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel. You've never actually stood there and looked up at that beautiful ceiling. Seen that.
And it's weird, too, and these drugs have side effects that go on for fucking days, like tendency to grow another head. Oh, my God. What we were growing up, we knew the side effects of the drugs we were taking. Cocaine, side effects were paranoia, ninjas on the lawn. I remember that. Quaalude, side effects were talking in tongues, English as a second language. I remember that. Marijuana, side effects were laughter, frosted flakes. That's all I remember.
If I ask you about women, you'll probably give me a syllabus of your personal favorites. You may have even been laid a few times. But you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy.
But now there are side effects which fucking rival the syndrome. There's a syndrome called restless leg syndrome. What the fuck is that? A tendency to break out in the river dance? Like, oh dear Christ! Grandma's got fucking restless leg syndrome. Take care, kids. I'm on my way to Dublin. Take care.
I ask you about war, you'd probably throw Shakespeare at me, right? Once more into the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watch him gasp his last breath looking to you for help.
And side effects include compulsive gambling and obsessive sexual behavior. That's not a side effect, that's fucking Vegas. They should just give you a bus ticket and say, good luck.
I ask you about love. You probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Who could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything. Through cancer. And you would know about sitting up in a hospital room for 2 months, holding her hand, because the doctors could see in your eyes that the terms visiting hours don't apply to you.
And how soon before they have a drug where side effects may include rectal ventriloquism? If your asshole starts talking, call a doctor. Or get friends over, because it's going to be a fun night. And what a great side effect for a politician. I was never with that woman. Liar! Liar! He's an asshole and so am I!
You don't know about real loss. Because it only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself. I doubt you've ever dared to love anybody that much.
We're a heavily medicated society. All the drugs we take, Prozac, Effexor, Valium. I thought for the last 10 years, we've been on some weird fucking drug, the whole country, a drug called Fuck It All. What a weird fucking drug.
You know, as we come to the end of this phase of our life, we find ourselves trying to remember the good times and trying to forget the bad times. And we find ourselves thinking about the future. Start to worry, thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to be in 10 years? But I say to you, hey, look at me. Please, don't worry so much. Because in the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish. Think of me. Make your life spectacular. I know I did.